All right. All right. We're gonna just do it for the world, because that is really not, it was frustrating me. All right. We're back. And we're back. I hate seeing people join for the preview and then they can't get in. So if you want to say hi to people, you're more than welcome to. We're back on the public land. Oh yeah, you're right. Gosh, that was honestly frustrating. That was frustrating. I won't do that again. I don't think. Okay. Everybody, it's not still stuck on Superfan, is it? Everybody can see me. Okay, perfect. All right. I just want to make sure. We'll see. Can I connect with your polygamist parents? If you want to sign up for a private mediumship reading, you're more than welcome to. I don't know what the polygamist part of that adds to the taste of things, but all right. Feel free to book a private mediumship. Yay! Rebecca, that's a huge plus. I gotta be honest, I don't think you shared that with me. But I'm glad you got it situated. Hello, Mike. How are you? Oh my God. I was like, what did I miss? Did I miss the whole memo? Yeah, no, I brought everybody back. I didn't like that. I hate watching people join for the preview and then poor Ken saying hello to people in the preview. They can't see. So it's like, I just made scallion pancakes from scratch. Everybody's got weird words today. You got groovy. Someone else said dandy. First off, I find groovy to be a lie coming out of your mouth. So, are you in one of those the horrors persist and so do you moment? It's all coming back. It's all coming back to me now. Oh. Chasm, what's your question? Dun, 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 dun. I just got something stuck between my space bar. That was annoying. Welcome to Aether 101 TikTok style. If you are someone who's never had a class with me, this is not going to be in like its whole class entire. We're going to make it a little less formal, I guess, so to speak. So if you're someone who has questions, if this is your first time ever hearing about energy work, one boundary that I do feel like I am going to have to put here is this. You are more than welcome to sit and take in the information that I have to share with you. This is information I have learned over time. I have learned through my guides. It might not be the way you do it. It might not be the way so-and-so taught you to do it. What I'm not going to do during this talk class time is argue with people. I'm not. So if you don't like what I have to say, it doesn't jive with what you taught or whatever, I'm okay with that. Just keep it pushing. I'm not going to stop the class to argue with how someone does it another way, someone does it this way. I just ain't doing it. Love you lots. All right? So thanks for the repost. Welcome in, Crystal. Hello, everybody. If you've never seen me before, my name's Molly. It's really nice to meet you. You have. I found that video the other day. Chasm, I'm not sure what you mean by that. What's the question? Thanks for the heart, mate. So, if you are someone who has never been introduced to energy, I would never do that. I'm going to save it for your 70th birthday party. So if you have never been introduced to energy, well, let me explain a couple things because there probably might be some new people here. So, hi, my name is Molly. It's very nice to meet you. I call myself an etheorist because I do not like to put myself in a box. Yes, I can do mediumship. Yes, I can do psychic work. Yes, I can talk to animals. Yes, I can do energy work. Yes, I can do past life readings. I don't ever want to put myself in a box of, oh, there's only one thing I can do. So the reason that I call myself an etheorist is simply because everything I do involves working and walking within the ether. So I call myself an etheorist, not to be confused with an atheist. I have been asked that a couple times. Completely different spelling. So that is why I call myself an etheorist. I just don't want to be put in a box. I feel like once you give yourself that label, that's only something, I can only do this or I'm only going to do that. It kind of puts you in a weird spot. So that's why I call myself that. What my intention is to do kind of an Ether 101 in this space. So if you're someone who has ever taken classes with me, this class is held over on the Patreon. Hi, ABC. This class is held over on the Patreon. And so with that being said, if you are someone who has always wanted to take Ether 101, come hang out. That is what we're doing in this class. Please feel free to ask questions if you have questions, okay? I'm a very literal person, so sometimes you might have to ask it in a different way. So if that's the case, please have at it. Thanks for the rose. ABC, feel free to hang out. I also am going to upload this live stream like all the other ones on YouTube. So if you are someone who doesn't want to hang out for the live, you gotta go, please feel free to go and watch it on YouTube. It will be accessible there. It is also accessible already for my Patreon people. You will find Ether 101, 102, 103, 104, and much more on over at the Patreon. So the very first thing I want to talk about, hi Monica, is what is energy? So energy is a part of everybody. Everybody has an auric field. You may call it your aura. You can call it your biofield. Everybody has one. The most energetic part on your body is in your heart space. If you look at the science behind it, it goes about, I'd say, 3 feet past your actual body. So when I'm talking about energy work, this is what I'm talking about essentially. I will also tell you that I do not practice Reiki. No hate to Reiki. It is not something I do. The energy work that I have been taught has been through my guides and some other teachers, and I have made it my own. So I do not practice Reiki. I cannot honestly answer questions. Goodbye, Logan. I cannot answer questions about Reiki other than what I do is just not that. So this is why I said take what you want, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I know some people go down the Reiki path. It is just not mine. Well, that sounds fun. I'll body double. So when we talk about energy work, we're talking about moving energy within our body. Thank you. And you will notice that a lot of physical stuff happens because of energy. So one of the big things people will talk about is autoimmune disorders. You'll see autoimmune disorders hang out in your auric field, and they're usually a compounding energy problem. One of the other things that I've come to notice in doing this work is a lot of people have gone to the doctor for things they know. I feel something going on in my chest. I feel something here. This keeps happening. The doctor says you just have anxiety. You just have energy to move around. So you're not anxious. That is a side effect of spirit and other things, is feeling anxious, but your diagnosis isn't just anxiety. So the other thing too is the more you ignore energy, the more it will physically manifest. So I'm going to give you a couple of real simple things with that. Your certain parts of your body hold different energetic expressions. A lot of people run on the 7 chakra system. I like to go 12. In my belief system, there's 144 of them. So with that, every energy center is an expression of that area within the body. So like our throat is where we express our authenticity, our true self. Our communication comes through our throat. So if you are someone who you find that you feel like you have this big ball in your throat sometimes it's hard to swallow, ask yourself where you are holding yourself back from, right? What are you not saying? What are you not acknowledging? How are you holding yourself back from truly expressing yourself? And a lot of the times this is because people have a fear, you know, my opinions aren't valid. I want to keep the peace. I don't want to get in the way of anybody. So they'll keep their mouth shut, and that just builds this big, basically dense bubble in their throat. Your organs also hold emotion. So your liver holds anger, your kidneys hold fear, your gallbladder holds rage. You're someone who all of a sudden out of nowhere has, you know, incontinence, or you have to go to the bathroom all of a sudden really quick. Your bladder holds restlessness, impatience, and frustration. So there are so many parts of the body that correlate to emotion, and emotion is energy. Best thing I can tell you. There's a lot out there, and in my world, emotion's just another form of energy. That's why we talk about things that are considered low vibrational and high vibrational. And we're not saying that low vibrational things are bad. It's just that they hang out at a lower spectrum. Those are things like guilt, fear, anger. I actually learned today that craving is on that list. That one really shook me. I had never seen that before. And so I discovered that today along my research. So those things just hang out at a lower vibration. It's where our ego lives, right? That's how we live in that egoic personality and presence. Things like love, kindness go up higher vibrational, and then things like enlightenment hang out at the top. So these are all, when you hear people talk about, you know, raising your vibration, what they're really saying is learn how to regulate your nervous system so your emotions don't lead the way. And one thing I've noticed with people, especially millennials and especially the generation before them, is that a lot of the time we are just told to like move past things, just get over it, just keep it pushing. And that really causes a buildup of things that we have to work on the more we push them to the side or blame ourselves. So, know that you're not alone in that. Yep. Know that you are not alone in that. It's something a lot of us deal with as we're programmed through society not to feel certain ways, not to express ourselves in certain ways. The other thing I will say too is gender norms through society have really taught both genders weird things about how to process emotion, and that leads to immature adults. You have a lot of adults walking around with the maturity level of a 13-year-old. That's a problem. You know, that's why sometimes you have, 50-year-old people who are acting like they're 12, and it's because, well, they're emotionally regressed and they're still stuck in that space. They have things that they have to work on. And one of the other biggest things I see in this work is people don't want to work on themselves because they don't find themselves worthy of it. They will do everything for everybody else under the sun. They won't take time for themselves. I can't tell you how often I see it. And that's one of the biggest things whenever someone comes to me and they want to start doing energy work or they want to start doing mediumship is really, are you ready to make the commitment to yourself? Because that's what this is about. This is about taking your power back, making a commitment to yourself and getting ready to do the work, not putting other people ahead of you, right? We all have responsibilities, but there comes a point where you have to make the decision that I am important and those other responsibilities wouldn't exist if I wasn't here. One of the things I hear all the time is, well, my kid, and listen, I don't have children, I don't pretend to, but what I will tell you is that your children will remember that you showed up as the best version of yourself for you and them. And if you teach them how to take care of themselves, how to monitor and work with their emotions, their nervous system, they will forever be grateful for it. I can promise you that. So please know that you're not ever wasting time or taking time from them. In my opinion, being able to better yourself is what's best for them. I feel like that's with anything. I see people all the time, well, oh this, oh that. If you're not your best shape, everything else will suffer. So the first thing I want to talk about, I usually go into ethics. I'm not going to. Ethics are very individual to other people. There are plenty of people on this app who will click into other people's energy without their permission. This is why I teach protective stuff so much. So you can learn to protect yourself even from nosy people that, have different morals than you do. So I'm going to skip that. The first thing that I am going to talk about is grounding. Okay, so a lot of the times when I talk about grounding, whether I make a TikTok video, whatever it may be, people always tell me, well, I ground every day. I go outside and I stand out on the grass. I love you, but that is not grounding. Is it a little bit? Yeah. But is that really getting into presence and grounding? No. No, it isn't. Also, holding a crystal, not grounding either. Just want to be so respectful of that statement. This is why too, when people talk to me, you know, a lot of people will tell me, oh, I put this crystal in my bra to ward away bad energy. No. That's not how crystals work. We're not going to get into that today, but having physical knowledge and skill about how to do these things is really what I teach. It's not very difficult, but it takes time, and it also takes you ready to be present with yourself to do these things. So when I talk about grounding, what I'm talking about is physically grounding your auric field into the crystalline and magnetic grids of the earth itself. Okay. And I notice a lot of people who start coming to this work, they have a constant feeling that they want to run out of their body. If you are someone who feels like that, you get overwhelmed, you feel like you're ready to run out of your body, ground yourself. Because what's happening is your body is a temple, okay? Your body houses your soul. This is what moves the body. Okay, so if you are ungrounded and your energy's all over the place, I want you to imagine that you have like Casper the Friendly Ghost banging all around your body, trying to get out. And it's not going to be able to. So it's just going to cause more, oh, I need to run out of my body. Oh, I have to do something. Ground yourself when that happens. So I'm going to give you 2 methods to ground yourself. Okay. So the first one is you have your Earth Star chakra, which is located below your feet. It's about 12 to 15 inches below your feet. That is your Earth Star chakra, which houses that grounding cord, right? Everything is plopped right in there. What I tell people to do is you're going to take a moment, take a breath, whether you want to do box breathing, whatever that may be. And you're going to take a deep breath in, and you're going to imagine that you're growing these big, this class, couple things. So this class is already available over on the Patreon. So if you are someone who's a member of Ember Healer's Hearth and Soul Sanctuary, you have access to over 15 classes over there, either 101, 102, 103, and a whole ton of other ones. This live stream I will upload to YouTube. So if you are someone who wants to come back and watch it, you are more than welcome to. That was from, what's the Halloween, whatever the Halloween, Spirit Halloween, like 3 years ago. So what you're going to do is you're going to imagine that you are pulling these 2 really big golden roots out of your feet. You're so welcome. Ember's on a 7-day free trial too. So if you want to check it out, feel free. These are huge roots, not little roots, humongous, the size of your head. Roots, okay? We want big, strong roots. And what I want you to do, now if you're someone who struggles to visualize, that's fine. I want you to focus on how it feels, okay? So I want you to physically experience the sensation of pushing those 2 roots down through the earth. So they're breaking through stone, gravel, the crust of the earth itself, all to connect in to those crystalline and magnetic grids of the earth itself. And you'll know that you have grounded because the bottom of your body will feel heavy. Okay, so whether you're sitting, whether you're standing, you will start to notice that your energy is much heavier on the bottom. And that is how you know that you have successfully grounded yourself down into those grids. Okay, this is why I always say it takes more than going outside barefoot. You have to consciously move your energy and consciously interact to move it. Okay, so intention is one thing, but physically doing it with your energy field is a whole other. So that's the first way. The next way that I'm going to tell you to ground is this. Depending on what your energy type is, you can either do this in your solar plexus if you want. That's one of your big energy centers. I have started sometimes doing it from my heart space. One, because this is our biggest, most electrical center. And this is also really where we come into in this work, is getting out of our head and coming into our heart space. So what you can do too is you can imagine growing this big cord right? So this one essentially big root from your heart space, it's going to connect down through your solar plexus sacral root, and then it's going to go down into the earth star, and it's going to go down and connect into the earth itself. So those are two very easy methods to ground yourself. And so here's the thing I tell people too whenever I teach this work. If you're a visualizer, I want you to over visualize things. I mean, I want you to spend 30 seconds, envisioning those roots, what they look like, what it looks like going into the earth, the things breaking apart. I want you to spend so much time visualizing it, right? Because the more you do that, the quicker you'll be able to go through it. For my people who are feeling people, I want you to focus on building that feeling, being present with your body, and actively feeling the shift as you're grounding down into the earth, right? And the more time you spend learning this and building that memory in the beginning, the much quicker it will be for you to be able to just do this in 5 seconds. Okay? So the more it takes muscle memory. I don't want anyone to get what's the word? I don't want anyone to get discouraged, because this is kind of the same idea as mediumship. It's all a muscle. So you're starting to use it and work with it before when you haven't. So give yourself some grace. Also, there is no flat out instruction manual that works for everybody with this. So you don't have to worry about being perfect before you start doing this. The more you practice, the better you will get at it. And if you wait until you are perfect at it to start doing it, you will miss out on so many things. Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is shielding, okay? This is something that is so important if you are someone who works in a helping profession, if you are someone who is, around people who may sometimes come off as negative, you got that one crappy coworker you don't like, I don't know, whatever you got going on, okay? With that, what I'm going to have you do is 2 different shields. So the first one is, I want you to either feel or imagine, okay, that you are connecting straight up to source, right up, just straight up. And if you're a visualizer, I want you to imagine that this opening has come through the clouds. And now there's this big, shiny, like sunbeam that's coming right down over your crown. And you'll feel this if you're someone who's a feeler. You will feel it come down and completely cover your entire auric field. So if you're a visualizer, visualize that beam coming down and completely cascading over your body. And if you are not a visualizer and you're a feeler, sense that opening and then feel it completely covering your body in a shield. And that is a source shield, which is just pure love and your connection to source, right? There's nothing, just pure love in that shield from source. The next one we're going to do is going to be a heart shield. Okay, so what we're going to do is, before you ever shield, I will always tell you to ground yourself. Okay, and so what you're going to do is you're going to take that grounding cord that you have connected there into the earth, and you're going to pull the earth's energy up through your grounding cord and all the way up into your chest. Okay, you can feel it or visualize it, whichever one works. And then once you feel this big warm space in your heart space, you might see color with it. I want you to imagine that on every out breath, that shield is starting to push out from your heart space, and it's getting bigger and bigger until it completely covers you in a bubble. And if you really want to go the extra mile, you can push that bubble out into the entire room that you are in. The other thing I will always tell you too is, please don't ever do any of this work using your own energy. Okay. You never want to use your own energy, whether you're doing energy healing, whatever it may be. You never use your own life force. Don't do it. You will get sick real quick. You will get very tired, and you will deplete your reserves. And, that's no fun. No fun. So please always make sure that you are either working with a guide, with, a collective, with source, whatever, earth, whatever it is. Do not utilize your own energy, because yours is not infinite. It runs out. So We've gone over 2 shields. The other thing that I teach people, and I know this is one that is a lot of people overlook this one. I know I do every now and then. And it's calling your power back. So remember, every time you're out in public, you're having a conversation with somebody, you are going out of your way basically to connect these cords with people. That's just how it goes. We all energetically connect into each other. And so with that being said, you're letting some of your power out, even the good stuff, when you don't mean to. So the easiest way to do calling your power back is to either imagine that you're calling your power back to your solar plexus, right? So you can imagine this golden bubble, and you're going to make the statement of, I'm calling my power back for my greatest and highest good with the best intention in mind. Because you don't want to call back some of that negative, crappy, low vibrational stuff. So you're going to call back all the stuff out there for you for your greatest and highest good. You can do it to your solar plexus, or you can do it to your left hand. So you can either, picture your solar plexus like this, or you can hold out your left hand because this is your receiving side, and you can imagine that light coming back, that energy coming back into your hand. You'll even maybe at times feel the heat from it as well. Chasm, you can pull from your own guides too. Is that what you were asking? Do do do. So you have to ground, like I just taught you. So if you ground properly, you're connected into the earth. So if you do those steps in that way, you will start to feel that connection, and you'll start to get reverb from it. So you'll know that you're connected into it. Does that make sense? Thanks for the heart, me, Allison. Do, 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 do. Okay. So, the next thing that I teach a lot of people, and if you are someone who struggles with headaches that you can't get to go away, you can take all the medicine in the world that you want. You can move the headache around, but you can't get rid of it. Cut your cords. This is such a common thing. I see so many people, especially mediums, energy workers, walking around with headaches, and it's because they're not doing their energetic hygiene. So whenever you make a phone call, whenever you send a text message, whenever you talk to anybody, you are actively creating cords between those people, right? So if you are someone who's not cutting your cords, you are just walking around connected to so many people. This is also where you may notice that sometimes you're fine all of a sudden, and then 2 minutes later you're really angry. And you're like, where is this coming from? You probably have open cords and you just caught somebody's reverb. So hi Courtney, hi Claire. So that is why I always tell people, cut your cords, especially if you're someone who is practicing, you're doing readings for people. You should be cutting your cords in between every single reading, because if you're not, you're bringing that other person's energy into the reading for the next person. So this is why too, if you're someone who works in a helping profession, okay, so say like you're a therapist, you work in substance abuse, you should have really be working on your energetic hygiene, just because of the environments that you're in, right? Not shitting on anybody, but that is something that will take its toll on you. We talk about vicarious trauma a lot. There is also vicarious energy. So this is why I always stress energetic hygiene, especially like first responders, that type of stuff. You should 100% learn this stuff, because it really will make a whole difference. Yeah, it might be helpful. It really might be. So let's see. So the way you're going to cut your cords is this. Now, you can either feel this or visualize it. Okay, so you're going to imagine that you're staring at this energetic outline of your body, okay? And off of your body is coming all these cords. Some of them are thick, some of them are thin, some of them might be funny colors, some of them might be slimy, Okay. And if you're a feeler, right, you will, if you focus in on it, you will start to feel them. You will feel the heaviness in your chest. Okay. So what I want you to imagine is that you have some really sharp object. I don't care if it's a hatchet. I don't know if it's a katana, whatever you use, do you, boo-boo. I want you to imagine that you are slicing through every single one of those cords that is hanging off your body. Okay. And once you have done that, you're going to notice now there's a bunch of broken cords hanging off of you, and then there's all those cords that are now over there because you cut it, right? So what I want you to do is take that really sharp object and you're going to draw a line basically in the dirt or sand, so to speak, between the cords hanging off of you and the cords hanging off of everybody else. And in drawing that line, you're going to make the statement of, this is my energy and that is your energy. I can't tell you how many people I've taught this to while they have a headache, and then the headache magically disappears. I cannot stress enough how important cutting your cords is. You do not need to do a big ritual. You don't need candles. You don't need twine. You don't need fire. You don't need any of those things. In order to cut your cords, you simply need to do it energetically. That is really all those rituals are doing, is a symbolic moment of those energetic ones, right? It's not that it's doing anything different. It is you making the symbolic gesture of what you would be doing energetically. So that's my 2 cents about cord cutting. I find it to be so important to cut your cords. I will stress it for the rest of my days. Okay. The other thing we talk about is cleansing. Okay. So if you are someone who, you're out and about, you go to a weird place, something feels funny. There's 2 ways I'm going to tell you. One, you have to go to the bathroom. So if you tell me that you have no time to cleanse, you're a liar, because you have to go to the bathroom at some point during the day. So you 100% have time to cleanse. You don't have to do anything fancy. You need to go to the bathroom. You need to do your business. And as you're doing your business, you simply say, I release anything dark, dense, low vibrational or negative that no longer serves me for my greatest and highest good. And then you flush it. She gone. That's it. So fast. Okay. Otherwise, you can ask your guides, right? You can imagine that you're sweeping your auric field. Okay. And you can sweep it into your right hand. So you can start kind of sweeping. You'll imagine any of the dark, dense, or negative stuff kind of coming in, and you're going to imagine, well, it will feel too, like you're building this big ball in your hand. Okay. And then once you feel that you've collected everything, you either can give that ball to your spirit guide to get rid of it, or you can transmute it. If you are brand new to this, just give it to your spirit guide. Don't try to transmute anything yet. Make it super simple for yourself. So what I always say about energetic hygiene is this: do it in the morning at least, and at nighttime before you go to bed. That is like the bare bones minimum of what I would say people do. If you're someone who, does this work all the time, you will be doing it multiple times a day, all day long. I will tell you that every single time I go to the bathroom, I cleanse. Every time. Every single time. Every single time I take a shower, I utilize it to cleanse. Every time. It's something that it really is, you build muscle memory, and it is something that will just come as second nature. There is a bunch of more ways to cleanse, right? Energetically. I'm not talking smoke cleanses. I'm not talking anything like that. I'm talking energetic cleansing. Okay. There's a bunch more ways to do it. These are the 2 bare bones, simplest ways without having to learn a whole other stuff. If you are someone who is interested in learning transmutation, there is a class in the Patreon called Transmutation. You are more than welcome to check it out if you would like to. So, the next thing, what do? We called our power back, we cut our cords, we shielded, we cleansed, and I think we did everything, right? Ken? Dinky? That was all of them, wasn't it? grounding, shielding, cleansing, calling your power back, cutting your cords. I think that was all of them. Okay, so I'm going to teach you guys something else real quick, okay? So if you are someone who has a big guy in a little kitchen, thank you very much. I cook scallion pancakes tonight, so if you're looking for a new recipe, feel free to go check it out. Maybe you would like one. Okay, I am going to teach you guys a real quick way to raise your vibration. So this is something that you can do every morning. If you're someone that hits the energy drink, try hitting this first and see what happens, okay? So the way that this goes is this. You can either stand up or sit down. I'm not going to stand up right this second. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your right hand, okay? And you're going to start at your root chakra. Okay, and you are going to imagine that you are running basically this light bulb that you're turning on all of your energy centers. Okay, so you can either feel them click on or you can envision them clicking on, whichever way works for you. You're going to bring your hand up over all of your energy centers, and as you're doing this, you are going to say, hold on. Father, Mother, God, please help me raise my vibration by 10 billion cycles per session. And when you get up here, you're going to pull your hand out here. You're going to snap and go all 114 chakras. And as you have done that, you will feel your entire auric field click on. It will turn on like a light bulb. It's like if you've ever opened your soul star chakra, it's going to feel the same way. It's like your whole auric field just turned on, like you're a little electrical bubble, so to speak. You'll kind of feel that buzzing. I recommend that everybody does this at least in the morning, at least. Feel free to do it multiple times a day. But this is something that I would say you should do every morning. It will help you dispel so much stuff that you don't already know is in your auric field. Yay! So that is like the easiest prayer. It's called Raise Your Vibration. Feel free to use it whenever you would like to. These are basic. Yes, it is Father, Mother, God. Please help me raise my vibration by 10 billion cycles per session. Hi, Jen Marie. Thanks for the sparks, Chasm. And then as you get up to the top, you're going to snap your fingers, all 114 chakras. You are very, very welcome. You are so welcome, Chasm. Thanks for the popular, Jen Marie. So, a couple more things I'm going to add in here. I offer Aether 102, 103, 104, and a ton of other classes. Aether 102 does protection for psychic attacks. That's a thing we deal with. We talk about cleansing food in Aether 102, setting intentions in everything, including your gardening supplies, you know. When you really start looking at energy, you'll start to become very cautious of what you bring into your field, and what you allow into it. Especially the more that you sit with your body and you sit with yourself, you'll start to be way more cognizant of things like that. What else? These are what I would call basic energy hygiene things, okay? So the way that I always do them would be this. The prayer to raise your vibration. Ground, shield. Well, you can cleanse before shielding if you would like to. So you can ground, cleanse, shield. You can call your power back and you can cut your cords. Also in other classes, we go more in depth into different kinds of shields, depending on what you're looking to do. We have transmutation shields. There's reflective shields. There's shields by your guides. There's a whole bunch of other things. So these are the very bare bones understanding. This is why I usually call this class Aether 101. It is the very foundation of energy. Okay, I am going to give a little bit of an ethics statement real quick here. Okay, when you start doing energy work and you start reading energy and understanding energy, you will be able to read people like a book. It is more vulnerable to look at someone's energy than it is to go through their cell phone. I'm just going to say that right now. So if you are someone who starts going into other people's energy, you better be cognizant about what comes out of your mouth, because not everything is your business. I'm just going to say that one more time. Not everything you pick up on someone energetically is your business. Even in readings, okay, it is up to you and your guides to make a decision of what is that person ready to hear and what are they not ready to hear. And if they're not ready to touch on something that you see, don't bring it up. Just because you can see it doesn't mean you have to be a know-it-all. Mind your own business. People will come to you, especially if you start doing this work. You will understand what they're ready to look at and what they're not ready to look at. Don't be putting people's business out on Front Street. Don't do it. Same thing with mediumship and energy work out in public. If you're sitting at a dinner table and you have a server that keeps coming up to you and her dead grandpa keeps knocking at your door, you better tell grandpa to take a hike. Because if you randomly start reading that server, you have no idea if her and that grandfather have a nefarious history, and you just brought up all this stuff for her she wasn't ready to deal with at work. Rude. Don't do that to people. So this is my very quick ethics conversation of the more you do this work, there comes a price, because this is really a gift that we are given, and don't abuse it, because you will see repercussions of doing that. You will also be cut off from doing things if your intentions aren't proper. Just gonna say that. I've seen it happen before. People will come to me, oh, I feel like I'm broken. I can't do these things anymore. What changed? And then you'll start to dig into the intention in which they were doing it for has completely shifted. This is why if you're someone who came to my past life class, you got to start your initiation process into the record, because it's all about intention, right? You're not just going to be able to walk in there and bang down a door if you haven't gotten through certain steps. So please be very cognizant if you start reading other people's energy. Be respectful, like you would want somebody to be if they were in your space. Yep, the bubble one is a heart. So the two shields that I taught today completely should be covering your whole body. You can push them out to the room that you're in as well. And those are source and love shields. So love is one of the highest frequencies there is. So you can either do a heart shield through the earth, or you can start with a source shield. There are way more in-depth shields, but for the sake of this class, we're just going to do those two. Just those two shields, because I also don't want to give you guys so much information that it's overwhelming. Yes, that is in the energetic protections class. You can shield your house, your car, your animals usually naturally have a shield that extends out actually to you, just because of how much they adore you and love you. And the other thing I will say too is, if you notice that your dog or your cat is all of a sudden going crazy, they feel like they need to go run, whatever, know that your animals help you transmute a lot of energy. So if they're trying to go run, do something, give them the space to do that. Just like you have to burn off energy, so do they. And they also help catch a lot of the shit for you. So yep, you can shield whatever you want. There's just usually different intentions that go into it. And the other thing too is, depending on, truthfully, like depending on what you, what you do, you can have multiple shields going at once in different places. She's like, hello, I'm here. So that is the bare bones basic Aether 101. So that is where this is the foundation of energetic hygiene. If you are someone who ever takes mediumship lessons with me, you have to start here. The reason I say this is because when you're doing mediumship, understanding energy is important, understanding how things feel, being able to pick on what's that, what isn't that, what's meant for me, what isn't meant for me, makes mediumship a whole lot easier. So I will always, if I teach mediumship, it always has to have an energy basics requirement, because it is really like the foundation of all of the practices there is. Being able to sit with your own energy, be present in your own energy, and move and understand your own energy before going into other spaces. So if you're someone who's, trying to dabble in mediumship or things like that, really pay attention to the energetic foundation, because the more you understand what's going on in your auric field, the more you'll understand messages that are coming through. Right, so I'm going to give you a really quick example of what I mean by that. When I'm doing mediumship, when a spirit comes to me and they're discussing how they died, there is a couple different ways that they'll tell me, right? So I kind of have my own little library of ways that we communicate. So there are some symbols and things that I get when something has happened a certain way. If someone's trying to tell me that they experienced something within their body, one of the most prominent ones that I always tell people about is what goes on here. If I'm talking to a spirit and that spirit passed from a heart attack, I will get this intense pressure in my chest, and it will stay right here in my chest. If someone is trying to explain to me that they died from like heart failure or circulatory issues, I will get pressure in my chest, and then it will spider web up the left side of my body. That is a very, very, very small difference. And the only way that I started to figure that out was being able to be present with my body and go, yeah, that's not me. So what is that? That's also the way that you can go and read people. You have to know what is your energy and what isn't. This is why I'm sorry if this pisses someone off. I hate when people come to me and go, I'm an empath. The reason that I say that is because whenever someone comes to me and they tell me that they're an empath, I know that you are energetically sensitive with no boundaries. And what that means is that you take on everybody's energy like you're a martyr. I can just feel what everybody feels, and I'm just so special to feel all this shit. Stop that. Stop it. I bet you're also a people pleaser up the butthole too, so stop that. If you are someone who is experiencing other people's emotions, please shield yourself. Please cut your cords. That's their problem, respectfully. You are not in charge of controlling how other people feel. You're not here to mitigate it. You're not here to be the referee between their feelings. Mind your own business. So please don't be the person who goes to work at like the hospital or something and you're like, I'm special because I can just feel everybody else and I just stop it. Oh my God. So whenever someone comes to me and tells me that, that's my biggest red flag, is you have no boundaries. So please, if you are someone who experiences that, learn boundaries for yourself. For the love of God, please. Because you don't want to take on other people's stuff. There's a difference between being empathetic and holding space for somebody versus I want to feel all the things that you're feeling. You don't need to. You do not need to feel what that person feels like in order to understand and have compassion for them. The other thing I'm going to say too is, if you are someone who doesn't even understand your own emotions, don't go try to figure out so-and-sos. Just because you can feel so-and-sos, you can feel your own. You just ignore them. So instead of trying to fix them and help them, look in a mirror. Pay attention to that. Don't pay attention to what's out there. Because I promise you, the sooner you learn how you feel, what emotions feel like in your body, and how to transmute them, you will be able to understand everybody in the whole world. This is why when I teach mediumship, when I teach energy work, the first person you're ever going to read is yourself. The first person you are going to learn to read is yourself. You are going to learn to talk to your own dead people, and you are going to learn how to feel things in your own body. Because if you can't do it for yourself, you should not be doing it for anybody else. None. And also, mediumship requires boundaries. Okay? boundaries. You wouldn't let some weird Joe Schmo knock on your bedroom door at 3 o'clock in the morning. Hello, madam, do you have a moment? No, Larry, I don't have a moment. It's 3 o'clock in the morning. Don't let spirits push you around. This is why I always teach people you have to have boundaries. You have to know how to shut it off, and you have to know how to have boundaries with them by telling them to, hey, this is the time when we can do this. This isn't the time now. You'll sometimes have spirits come to get your attention out in public. Don't Teresa Caputo those people. Don't do it. Do not be that person. Mind your own business. I had this happen not too long ago. I was out, there was this really nice man who was helping me because I was lost in the sauce. And he basically was like, I'll ride with you, so I'm going to the same place so you can figure it out. His dad kept trying, hello, and I was like, respectfully, sir, I just met your son, and if I look at him and go, I talk to dead people, do you want to talk to your dad? That's not nice. I said, so I will not be doing that. So you just have to know these are my boundaries. You also can't do the bleeding heart thing where you're like, but they just want to talk to me. Stop. You can pick up the phone, go call somebody. You don't have to talk to every dead person that comes by. You don't. And especially if you wouldn't let some weird man in your house at 3 a.m, you shouldn't let a weird spirit you don't know either. The other thing too is that a lot of people have the capability of attracting unprocessed spirits because those spirits know that you can help them cross. That is something I also teach in mediumship. Is how to do that and how to identify unprocessed versus processed. That's something we're actually going to go over in the upcoming mediumship development class. If you are someone who is going to that, or if you would like to sign up, feel free. I got 3 spots left. That is something we're going to look at, is how do you identify unprocessed versus processed spirits, and how do you help them move on, and then also having boundaries around that, because what that means is you are essentially a moth to a flame. So you can go out to the hospital, you'll bring someone back with you because they think you can help them. Or you went to some really old building with a lot of weird history, and one of the house ghosts found you exciting, and now they're home with you. Those are things to be cognizant of because it's time they gotta go. Hi, Rich. So shielding is one of the biggest things in setting the intention around it. When I first started really dealing with unprocessed spirits, I gave them calling hours. I set shields. So I have, this gets way more in depth. So I have shields in multiple different forms everywhere. I have wards, I have physical shields, I have multiple shields in multiple layers. There is a ton of things going on around here. So one of the things when I first started doing that was, as I set up the shields, I gave calling hours. So if you are an unprocessed spirit, you're someone who's looking for help, you need something, you got a message that has to come out, you're allowed to come visit between like 6 p.m. and 8 p.m. and that's it. And then my living room would be full of dead people at 6:01. So the other thing too, and I say this about your guides as well, dead people will come to you in the bathroom. So if you don't like that, please set boundaries around it. I'm so serious. They will come to you in the bathroom if you don't want that. Also, I have certain parameters with my bedroom, right? So after a certain hour, not even my spirit guides are allowed in here. You are only allowed to come in here if shit is hitting the fan. If we are having an emergency, something's going on, then you can come in here. Otherwise, from 11 p.m. to 7 a.m., not allowed. This is a no dead person, no spirit guide, no nothing establishment. And I know if something has occurred because 9 times out of 10, Jack wakes me up because he's mad. And I know if Jack's mad at something in the room, it doesn't belong here. So I don't even question it anymore. Oh, that's interesting. So there are a whole bunch of boundaries you can start building. Please don't be the bleeding heart medium that just talks to dead people 24 hours a day. Please don't. you will wear yourself out. You will get tired, and it's also not the reason that that gift exists. That gift is here for you to help with connections and closure, and it's not just to make you tired and run you ragged all the time. The other nice thing that I'm going to say is there are trickster spirits. This is also why I find energy work to be so paramount. You need to be able to identify who you're talking to. Things might look a certain way, doesn't mean that's what it is. Looks can be very deceiving. Okay, water break. Don't forget to hydrate too. Water moves energy around quite a bit. So, does anyone have any questions of any kind? I am going to post this live stream on YouTube, so you guys will have access to the whole class if you missed it. There is a mediumship development class coming up on the 24th of May. It is a Sunday. I have 3 spots left for it. If you are someone who's interested, it's $33 a spot. And we're not going to do energy basics because mostly everyone in that class has that foundation. But I highly recommend, if you're someone who's like, you know, I'm pretty interested in mediumship and stuff, get interested in energy work first. Start understanding energy centers. If you're someone who's like, Molly, where do I start? Start learning what the energy centers represent. Start learning about your crown chakra. Start learning about your third eye, your throat. Learn what they govern, what center of expression hangs out there. Because that way, when you start getting information, right, you know the questions to ask. You know the things to bring up because you know what's in that center. That's why I think a lot of the times when people see me do energy work, they think it's such a flawless thing, and it isn't. There is so much work that goes in behind the scenes of learning information. Here, I'll tell you, when I first started doing galactic work, my galactic guides were starting to help me understand certain medical things within people. And I started having to look into anatomy and medical stuff to A, verify it, and B, start to understand it for myself. So there is always a research and a self-study part of doing this work, and I think it's something that isn't talked about enough, so I'm bringing it up again. Start to really focus on, you know, what can I learn to help bring my gifts to a place where they're not as intangible to me anymore? Oh, that's good. Isn't that Hands of Life an old book from like the 80s? Shield should help with that, Chasm. And make sure you have some gatekeeper guides around. There's also, if you're someone who's starting to do this work, I have a guided meditation on Patreon called Building Your Treehouse, and that builds you a safe place to start practicing. So a safe place to start practicing your mediumship, your energy work. Build your safe space, build your treehouse. And in that guided meditation, we set up all of the protections in your space. We set up all of the guides in your space. We set all of that stuff up for you so you have a safe place to go practice. So if you are someone who is looking for that, feel free. It's on the Patreon. It's called Building Your Treehouse. I love that. So feel free. There's also on the Discord, there is a ton of resources. There really is. The Discord has so many things. You might have to scroll for a while, but there's energy channels, there's walking realm channels, there's shadow work stuff. You'll find so much. I really think there is a bunch of explanations about chakras as well in the Aether channel. You can connect with your gatekeeper guides whenever you want. It's just that meditation it's specifically built. Yeah, I figured it was the 80s. It was specifically built in a way that you have created your own safe space to practice. Look at that. All right. Does anybody have questions of any kind about any of the things I talked about? I am going to post this on YouTube for free, so you can go back. You would have to, Chasm, that's a whole other process, truthfully. So you're going to have a conversation with your guides about who wants to be a gatekeeper and who's best at it. There's a whole, that's like a whole other thing. If you connect with your guides, just talk to them about it and see what they have to say, truthfully. And not everybody that you think should be a gatekeeper will be. And also, respectfully, your dead people are not gatekeeper guides at all. At all. They're not. It takes time, Chasm. It really is. It's a practice of being present. And also, this is another video that I'm going to be posting in the next couple days, but having receiving wounds will close off you receiving information. So if you struggle to receive love, kindness, money, compliments, all those things, you will also struggle to receive information from your loved ones and your guides. And this is why I really talk about shadow work a lot, because in clearing away that, you'll open yourself up to more. And then also, whatever you are still dealing with in the physical, it will manifest in the spiritual realm. So if you're someone who hasn't dealt with some pretty traumatic stuff, it's going to reappear in the spiritual realm. And that's where I see a lot of people scare the shit out of themselves, and then they're sworn off spirituality. But you only dealt with the shadow there. There's nothing to be afraid of. You're afraid of yourself. So this is why I always tell people that you got to do the internal work to get up there. It's really not an option. I know there's a ton of practitioners that will just teach people to open their gifts willy-nilly, but really doing the internal work first is the safest way. I'm going to give you a prime example of what I mean by that. I am someone who has a history with domestic violence and some other things. And so I was on here doing a live mediumship reading for a woman one day who wanted to talk to her mom. So I'm up in my treehouse and her mom comes in, but she's followed by an extremely angry man. And this man is he is yelling at her. He is cutting me off every time I go to talk to her. He's getting in front of her. I'm not allowed to talk to her. And so I said to the person that I was reading, I said, was your dad really abusive to your mom? And she was like, oh yeah, he was this, he was that. And I was like, he wouldn't let her speak, huh? And she was like, nope. And I was like, I'm sorry, but your dad's an ass. And I had to call in one of my gatekeeper guides to move her dad so I was able to talk to her mom. Couple things. Her dad, unprocessed, really needed some assistance with that. And two, if I hadn't done the physical work here, in order to deal with that up there, I would have freaked out and probably ran out of the reading and all this other stuff. But because I had done the internal work here, I was able to deal with it up there. So this is why I tell you, if you're someone who's really still dealing with some trauma, some childhood trauma, stuff like that, work through it in your own way physically before you try to go up there. Because eventually it will catch up to you. And then you might scare the crap out of yourself. Oh, come on with this puzzle piece, dude. Shadow work is forever. I just want to let you know that, Chasm. I don't believe that anyone's ever healed. I don't believe anyone's ever done their shadow work. It is a lifelong journey. A lifelong journey. Chasm, it sounds like it's very easy to get stuck in your head, and a lot of people do that. So if you find yourself stuck in your head, get out of your head and go into your heart. And if you find that difficult, get out of your head and get into your body. So go walk, go do something. But try to look at things from a heart-centered place versus a logical place. That's where we get stuck in that ego. All right, Hunter. All right. All right. So, does anybody have questions of any kind for me at all? If you're someone who's interested in doing more of these classes, they are available on Patreon at your own pace. So feel free to go check out the Patreon. This will be posted on YouTube. And I do have 3 spots left for the mediumship development class on the 24th. If you are someone who would like, you've asked me that question before. Did you not remember my answer? Just focus on your heart space, Chasm. Like the next time that you're trying to meditate, just focus on your heart space and see, and just try to pay attention to how it feels. No, it just means that they have some stuff that's keeping them bound here. So usually that could be, there's some things that they have to, like, they want to say really bad. They had a traumatic passing. They're just stuck in a different vibration den. It doesn't mean they're a bad, I don't think anybody's a bad person. I really don't. I think people are just very scared. I think fear makes people do really shitty things. That's the best thing I can say. I will say from my viewpoint, I think anyone who's abused me in my life did it from a place of fear, insecurity, their own stuff. I don't think it ever had anything to do with me. I think I was just a vulnerable person that they could use. But I don't think they're bad people. I think that fear, insecurity, guilt, and shame and anger ruled their life. And it's easy to get swept up and stuck in that. That's my viewpoint. And I know people will argue with me like, oh, well, aren't, you know, this person's a bad person and this one's a bad person. And, you know, I think that's perspective. I think people do shitty things, but it's a representation of their own internal world. And if they were able to act out that way physically, then you know their internal world is horrible. And I truly feel for them. I really do. I don't think that forgives their actions, but the actions aren't because of anybody or anyone's fault, is the best way I can describe that. Oh, goodness. Okay, so I have 3 spots left for the mediumship class. If you were someone who would like to sign up, it's $33 a person. Let's see, tomorrow is the readings for people on Patreon, energy work and their readings. So feel free to come to that live. There's multiple this month. That's just the first one. Our next guided meditation and energy work is also on Sunday. If you are someone, who wants to come hang out for that? Jen, thanks for sharing. I know you're really pushing it. So as soon as this is done uploading from the old TikTok, I am going to post it on the YouTube. So if you guys want to go back, you want to watch it. And then Aether 101 and more is on the Patreon. So if that is something that you want to go check out, feel free. Why can't I delete this? Hello? I got to make sure I have enough room on my computer to download this live. That's all. Oh, and the last podcast episode was all about the steps that I suggest people do before doing energy work and mediumship. Yep, Chasm, I would go look at the latest podcast episode. It's episode 31. I would check that out. Patreon's really for people who like to do things on their own and also at their own pace. I can't tell you how many people do guided meditations in the middle of the night and things like that. So it's really, if you're someone who, I'm watching myself on TikTok, that's scary. Get me the hell out of here. So if you are someone who likes to do things at your own pace, you want access to classes, guided meditations, things like that, that is really a big place for the Patreon. The Patreon also has like 15 different classes on it. So energy, protection work, transmutation stuff. We even did an entire class all about Jack was my patient, and we did energy healing with the pendulum. That's honestly what we do over there on the Patreon, Hunter. So there is so much information, and there is chat groups for everybody. If you want to message me, you're more than welcome. We also do a workshop over there every month. There is so much stuff that we do, because it is scary to do this work on your own. And I'm someone who really learned all of this on my own, and I really didn't want anybody to have to do that, because I spent a lot of time thinking I was doing things wrong, when in fact I was doing them wicked right. That's like the best thing I could say. I remember when I first started trying to reconnect into my guides years ago, I'm like, why do I feel like I'm gonna fucking puke every time? I'm like, I have to be doing this wrong. I wasn't. I was not. I was starting the process of changing my energy. And more things will follow, you know. The more I tapped into my spirit guides, the more I started paying attention to my energy work. I quit nicotine. Never thought that would happen. Quit nicotine. Dumped caffeine. Made so many changes in what I put in my body that, you know, I never would have if I didn't start really taking time to focus on my energy and how I feel, and listening to my guides. I'm so grateful that I made the decision to start reconnecting. And so I hope you all are proud of yourselves for making that, because you don't have to do anything alone. You really don't. My guides help me with so many things. It's not even funny. This is why I always tell people, build the relationship with them. The incident that's coming to mind is I got a bunch of stuff from Walmart, and I couldn't find the bag. There was a bunch of stuff in the bag. Listen, I don't remember why. It was duct tape, it was body wash, and some other stuff was in this one bag. And I could not find the bag. I was ripping my apartment apart, like trying to find it, all this stuff. And I finally asked them, and they were like, you threw it out. And I was like, no, I didn't. I'm like, there's no way I threw it out. They were right. It was in the trash can outside. I 100% took it outside and threw it out. So this is why I say build a relationship with them. They'll help you with so many things. There's nothing that's stupid. There really isn't. Chasm, my best suggestion is to just so this is what I tell people. If you are someone who wants to just start connecting to your guides, take 15 minutes out of your day every day. Find a quiet place, go sit down, write down 3 things that you're grateful for, and then just sit and be present. No noise, no music, no TikTok, no nothing. Just sit, set a timer for 15 minutes, and just be present and see what messages come through. See how your body feels, right? And do that do it for 7 days. And see what happens after the end of 7 days. But I bet you at the end of 7 days, you'll have your confirmation. And if you're someone who wants your hand held for the spirit guide connection, the spirit guide class is coming up again after the mediumship class. There are people in here who have taken the spirit guide class and they really loved it, so you're more than welcome to ask them. One of the things that I promise people when I do those classes is that you will get your confirmation, and I've never had a class where somebody didn't. So if you are someone who wants that connection to your guides piece, that is available. All right, I have to go because Jack really needs to go outside, and he's being pretty ridiculous. I also should eat some dinner. So thank you guys for hanging out with me for this Aether 101 TikTok class. I am going to post it over on YouTube, so if you are someone who wants to go back and watch the class, please feel free, go do that, whatever sounds good to you. I forgot that I was uploading yesterday's live stream, so I'm going to do that right now. Whoops. That's now uploaded. So if you're someone who got readings yesterday, you'll find that over on the YouTube. And then this will be uploaded later on tonight. It really just depends on how long it takes. Is there anyone who has any questions for me before I run away? I want to make sure that I answer any questions you may have. You're so welcome. Bye, Monica. Bye, everybody. All right. If you guys have questions,